Welcome to PeopleTools Tech Tips. I'm Randy Gronke. Today we're going to talk about component search record overrides. I know many of our components are now fluid that were given to our users, but the overwhelming majority are still classic components, and those classic components use component search records. Now we can override the search records on those components at either the menu and now the configurable search area. So how do you know which place your component is overridden at? Well, let's talk about the hierarchy. The base level is the component search, the component properties themselves. You have the search record there. And then wherever that component is attached to the menu, you can go through that menu item and then override the component search record and add your own search record to that. Now, beginning with PeopleTools 860 and higher, we have Configurable Search, and Configurable Search is now the ultimate in the hierarchy of overriding component search records. It is content ref based, and that will find the current override between the menu and the component and then override that. Now, some important ideas to remember. If you're overriding a search record on a component, the override search record must deliver the same unique keys that the component is expecting. A bad example is if your component is expecting a high-level 0 key of empl_id, and you override your component search record where the highest level key is a unique department ID, that's just not going to work in your component. It's not going to pass testing. It's not going to satisfy your business requirements. Now, you override the search record in that component with a new search record that satisfies some other business needs. For example, we had in our implementation a workforce admin page that had a lot of good information about the employees that only the admins had. We wanted to give that component access to the managers themselves, but only for their employees, not the entire population. So somebody came in there and said, hey, let's clone the component, change the level 0, put a new component search record there, and it'll work great. Well, that is also a big customization and something to maintain going forward. How about instead, we attach that component to a new menu, and in that new menu, we override the component search record to that new custom search record that satisfies our business needs, such as a manager's employees, and only that a manager's employees. Now, the other side of the coin is you're exploring a component's functionality and you can see online how it works. However, when you go to App Designer and bring up that component and look at that component search record, there is no correlation between that search record and what you're seeing on the page. Maybe the search is totally different. Maybe there is totally different fields other than the level 0 key that is being there. Well, something's going on. Well, what is going on is that component search record has been overridden at either the menu or a configurable search. One of the cool things this allows us to do is take that component and put it multiple times on different menus. And in each place in that menu, we get to specify a different component search record, overriding the component. Now, the original one that is using that component search record on that original menu is not affected by these other menus and these other overrides. So we can reuse a component with a very, very light modification and customization, and no customization to the component itself. So when it comes upgrade time, it's a whole lot easier path to upgrade and go forward. So let's go take a look in the application and PeopleTools and see component search records, component search overrides, and see how we can override the component search record at both the menu and also the configurable search area. Here's a standard classic component in PeopleTools 860 with a standard search record returning a unique empl_id. Click on search and we see a list of employees. I hard-coded component search into the view so we can verify that this is the search record attached to the component. Choose an employee and we see a very simple page with the employee's ID and name. Let's look at that component in Application Designer. Here's the component. When we click the properties and change to the Use tab, we see the search record, X under PT3, under EE Search, under CP. Here are the 3 search records we will use to help demonstrate the different overrides. The views all have the same field and key structures. X under PT3, under EE Search, under CP for component search. Same under MN for menu override, and the same under CS for Configurable Search. The view SQL behind them is different. Here in the CP record, the desker is hard-coded to component search, and it only brings back names starting with C. The MN record has menu override hard-coded to the desker field and only returns names starting with M. And finally, we have the CS, or Configurable Search record. This has Configurable Search hard-coded into the desker field and only returns names starting with an S. Here are each of those search views in the database: the Component Search view, the Menu Search view, and the Configurable Search search view. Going back to our application and searching, we can see that CS Component Search record in action. I'll override the Component Search record at the menu first. Open our menu and the menu item for this component. We can see the component in the default Component Search record. The Override checkbox is not selected. Check the box to override the search record and type our menu search override record X under PT under EE search under MN. Save and let's see how that affected the search behavior of the component. Refresh the page and search. The description field is showing menu override and all names begin with an M. We can now see that PeopleSoft is using our menu override search record instead of the component record. So how does Configurable Search work? Configurable Search is available under the Enterprise Components menu. I've already created an entry for a menu component combination. This looks at the content reference instead of directly at the menus. To create a new reference, click on the link at the bottom of the page, Configure Search for Application Page. This brings up the menu tree to navigate to our content reference. Here's the one we're using for this demo. Since we already have this reference, I'll just cancel out of here. Let's edit the content reference for our component. You can see at the top of the page this configuration is currently inactive. This also shows our MN search record because it knows the search record has been overridden at the menu. Change the status to active. We can change the search record to our Configurable Search record, overriding the override. Just remember that the key structure has to be the same amongst the search records. Come down to the page and select between the basic and advanced search type and the default. At the bottom grid, enable the fields we want to see on the search results and in which order. I'll put the description field second and the name third. Save this, navigate back to our component and search. First off, the look and feel of the search is very different, so we can tell Configurable Search is enabled here. Search for an employee. And the results show the Configurable Search record is used and all the names begin with an S. So we have overridden the override. There are 2 levels of override in this search. So that's Component Search record overrides. Pretty straightforward and easy. We start out with the Component Search record that is overridden by the menu item search record, which can be overridden by the Configurable Search if you're using PeopleTools 8.6.0 or later. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing to our channel, and we'll see you next time here on PeopleTools Tech Tips.